On the evening of Friday, November 13, 2015, Paris was struck by a series of coordinated terrorist attacks that would leave the city forever changed. The violence began at 9:16 p.m. when 3 suicide bombers targeted the Stade de France in Saint-Denis during an international football match. Despite failing to gain entry to the stadium, they detonated their explosives outside, causing chaos and panic among the spectators. Meanwhile, in the city of Paris, another group of attackers went on a rampage, firing indiscriminately at crowded cafes and restaurants. One of these assailants also detonated an explosive device, taking his own life in the process. This wave of violence continued as a third group of attackers stormed the Bataclan theater, where they took hostages and engaged in a standoff with police. The situation at the theater would prove to be the deadliest of all the attacks, resulting in 90 fatalities. In total, these horrific acts claimed the lives of 130 innocent people and left 416 others injured, nearly 100 of them critically. 7 attackers were also killed by either police gunfire or detonating their suicide vests. These attacks marked the deadliest in the European Union since the Madrid train bombings of 2004. The tragedy unfolding in Paris was not an isolated event. It came on the heels of similar attacks in Beirut, Lebanon, and just 13 days after a Russian airliner was bombed over the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. France had been on high alert since the January 2015 attacks on Charlie Hebdo offices and a Jewish supermarket in Paris that claimed 17 lives. The Islamic State, responsible for previous atrocities, quickly claimed responsibility for these Paris attacks as retaliation for French airstrikes on its targets in Syria and Iraq. French President François Hollande declared the attacks an act of war by the Islamic State. The plot was planned in Syria and orchestrated by a terrorist cell based in Belgium. 2 of the attackers were Iraqis, but most were born in France or Belgium and had fought in Syria. Some of these attackers had even returned to Europe among the flow of migrants and refugees from Syria. In response to these horrifying events, a 3-month state of